Okay, so today we're talking about marketing and branding, as you all know, and we have a couple of great guest speakers. And just the agenda for today's webinar, we're going to talk about just some of the common challenges that businesses and communities face as far as Aboriginal tourism, just tourism in general goes with regards to marketing and branding. We're going to discuss and reveal some opportunities, and those will be from presentations with our guest speakers, with Narvin Singh with the OTMPC and Jen Tabak with Design to Plume. We'll have time for some questions and answers, and then we'll also discuss moving forward and how to become involved with ATO. So for those of you that aren't familiar with what Aboriginal Tourism Ontario does, it's basically a support network that is created provincial-wide to assist Aboriginal tourism businesses, communities that want to become more involved with the tourism industry. And so what Ontario Tourism Ontario believes is that we need to start with a solid foundation of listening and providing a strong network, and that's collaborating with communities, with businesses, with various partners throughout Ontario. And so the ultimate goal is to enhance Aboriginal tourism across the province, support regional and provincial collaboration and coordination of Aboriginal tourism, encourage engagement of industry partners to support our efforts, support a coordinated approach that aligns planning, product development, investment attraction, workforce development throughout all of Ontario's regions. And we want to provide that solid foundation for Aboriginal tourism businesses to positively impact Ontario's economy. So that's essentially Aboriginal Tourism Ontario's mandate, and so we're here just to support and move things forward and grow the local tourism industry. So some of the common challenges that a lot of businesses face right now with regards to marketing and branding is first and foremost just creating that marketing strategy. So knowing where to start, what to focus on, how to budget for various marketing initiatives, who to partner with, and what to focus and spend a lot of your energy on, because marketing is just so important for growing your business. A lot of new and small businesses work with a tight budget, so allocating, what to focus on, what's working, what isn't working, and so that's a constant battle and struggle for a lot of businesses. There's also the whole social media and where to start, what to use, what to focus your time and energy on. And that could be just very overwhelming, especially if you're new to the industry and not really sure where to start. And there's also creating a strong brand presence. So especially in today's world, photos and images and your online presence is so important, because so many of visitors do all their research online before choosing which destination to go to. So having that strong brand presence and a strong web presence is so essential, because many people, that's how they decide where to go. They see that one beautiful image, or a very nice professional looking website, and that's how they'll make their decision. And also all those various online, I guess this goes into the social media realm. So having a presence on TripAdvisor and Booking.com, and those sources are so important, because a lot of people, that's how they decide as well when they choose a destination. And finally, creating partnerships. So knowing who to partner with, and creating those win-win situations. And whether it's partnering with other businesses to create packages, working with your local DMOs and regional tourism organizations, working with organizations like the OTMPC. So just finding out what partners work for you the best. So marketing and branding is such a huge, a huge realm to deal with when it comes to tourism. So I think what we'll get into now is just to jump into having our guest speakers share with you some of their expertise. So we'll start with Narvin. So I'll just bring up your presentation here.
So I'm with the Ontario Tourism Marketing Partnership Corporation, or the acronym is OTMPC. And we are really the marketing agency for the tourism marketing agency for the government of Ontario. And we've been in existence for about 16, 17 years now. And our job is really to promote all the tourism experiences in the province and increase our brand exposure, generate generate partnerships, and then generate expenditure and visitation to the province. So that is slide 3. And as a marketing organization, if you want to go to slide 5, it is our market priorities. And on our market priorities, this just shows you where we currently target. Our mandate used to be, our mandate is always about marketing, but our priorities have shifted over the last 3 years, where we are putting more efforts into international media, international markets, including the U.S. and outside the province of Ontario. So where we spend most of our dollars is in the Tier 1 markets, which is Ontario, Quebec, New York, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and China. China is a huge market. Its visitation is increasing significantly, and it is forecasted to be probably the largest international source of visitors for us by 2017, and that is greater than Germany and France and Britain, which are our Tier 2 markets and have been our big markets internationally. So we're expecting quite a bit on the China market. So in Tier 2, those are the markets that we currently deal with, and we usually do that either in partnerships with the CTC, or we use tour operators, and we do media relations in those markets. Tier 3 is our media relations. We only use media relations in India, Mexico, and the rest of Canada. So outside of Quebec, we don't really do a whole lot of promotion to any of the other provinces. Our thinking is that everybody knows Ontario. If we have new products and so forth, there might be some reach through any TV advertising that we do, but right now we don't really put a whole lot of money into outside of the rest of Canada, outside of Ontario. And then we have a separate, at OTMPC, we have a southern office, which is where I'm located in Toronto, but we also have a northern office, which is up in northern Ontario. It's sort of we have an office location in Sault Ste. Marie, but we have staff in northeastern Ontario. And so their markets, what we do in the north is we promote a lot of the AVID products. So outdoor, motorsports, which could include skidooing, ATV, boating, angling. We also do, as well as hunting. So those are what we call the AVID or experiences that we promote from the northern office. Those AVID experiences do represent all of Ontario as well, but the bulk of it is in the north, so that's where we have our northern office, and those are the markets that they target. So internationally, outside of the province, it's New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois, and Minnesota. primarily in northwestern Ontario.
I just have a quick question, Narvin.
Yep.
So with all of these international markets, are you finding that they're interested in one particular type of experience or just coming to Canada in the general sense?
No, each market has a different reason for coming for the most part.
Hmm.
If you look at the Chinese market is coming because it's Canada. It's Canada has a great brand out there, and what happened was about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, ADS status was granted to us, which is approved destination status, which allows us as a province or as Canada to promote through consumer advertising into the Chinese market. And what we have found, and what statistics have found, is that in the Chinese market, for example, once you get ADS status, it's an opportunity to do the consumer marketing, and they tend to travel significantly to those markets with ADS status. So that's why we're expecting good numbers from China. But for Britain, they'll come on they'll come for an urban experience normally, and they'll only stay 4 or 5 days at top, so like a long weekend. The Japanese markets, they come for fall. They do a lot of fall excursions. Brazilians come for shopping, so they tend to be coming to Toronto and staying in Toronto for the most part. The German market, it's all outdoor. They really love the outdoor, and when they come for 2 weeks and up. And these are the consumers that will rent an RV and travel from Toronto to Kenora and come back. And they'll stay in the Algonquin parks, they'll stay in provincial parks, they like the outdoors, they like the space, and that's what they'll do. So to answer your question, they all have a different need and a different reason why they come.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Slide 6 is really just the segments that we target. So the real thing you got to understand is that we target families primarily during the summer and the winter, and we target couples. There are 2 different types of couples. There are those couples that have no children, which we call the connected explorers. They tend to be 18 to 34. They like new experiences, and technology is a big part of how they search their travel. And the other couple is the up-and-coming explorers, which are again 18 to 34. They're young. They're usually visible minorities or immigrants from the U.S. and they do have some children, so they're sort of a combination of family and couples. But that's sort of who we target. Something that everybody should know is that 3 years ago we did a significant study into the U.S. into the Quebec, Ontario, the eastern part of Manitoba, and a number of U.S. states that border Ontario. We did 69,000 respondents, and so from those, we were able to come up with 12 different segments, and these are 4 of the segments that's on the slide, but there are 12. The information is on our website at tourismpartners.com. So if you ever want to go and just get a snippet of information of each of those segments, you can do so on our industry site at tourismpartners.com. Slide 7 just talks about the campaigns that we do. So our campaigns are based on themes. We do one in the summer, we do one in the fall, one in the winter, which is our holiday campaign, and then we do one for the north. And all the campaigns include print piece as well as a number of other tactics, which you'll see on page 8. So on page 8, in the middle, you'll see our theme campaign. So let's say it's the Best of Ontario campaign that we're doing. We're promoting those experiences and or destinations that we view as providing good, solid tourism experiences. And we support our print piece. On our print piece, we do about 1.3 million copies. and we distribute it into the US, into Ontario, and into Quebec. And what you'll see on slide 8 is just how we support it. So we will support it with paid advertising. So those are things that we are actually buying with our own money. We have those that we own, such as our Travel Information Center, our website, OntarioTravel.net, e-newsletters, and social media. And then we have those that we call earned, which are things that we do to generate information and to generate content out there. And that's what we do with all our campaigns. Is we may not do each and every one of those tactics, but we do some of them.
Great.
Slide 9 is really our consumer website, which is OntarioTravel.net. Everything we do drives to OT.net, as I'll call it. Our web traffic is usually around 2.5 to 3 million per year. And out of that, we generate probably about 400,000 to 500,000 click-throughs to our partner sites. So the important thing for anyone here who is a business operator or is involved in Aboriginal tourism, any Aboriginal experience or operator should have a listing on our site. And I'll talk a little later about how you do that, but the value for listing on our site is on page 10, which is it's a free listing. If you have packages or festivals or events like powwows or so forth, they can also be listed on our website. The good thing is, once you're listed on OntarioTravel.net, you automatically get listed on our mobile app. Our call center also has access to the information. Our OTIC staff have access to the information. And then we have an online chat through our website that's handled at the call center. And all of those are integrated. So your information, once you put it on the site, is integrated for them to refer customers to, depending on which platform we're talking. Our call center gets about 70,000 calls in 14-15. Calls are dropping. Live chats are increasing. Our OTIC numbers is close to about 1 million. And as I say, the OntarioTravel.net is anywhere from 2.5 to 3 million visitors. So there's good reason for, and our mobile app, the last number I saw was probably about 120,000 downloads of the app. So, and the app is called Discover Ontario. Page 11 just gives you our social media interaction. Right now we're at about 211. That was at the end of May, so I'm sure that's gone up significantly, but we're getting heavily and more involved into social media. I'll skip and go to the partnership opportunities on page 14. Page 14 just gives you sort of information. All of these opportunities that you see here are available. There's a charge to them. So we go out, we work with the industry, and we sell opportunities. Opportunities range anywhere from free, which is your listings, to $25,000, depending on if you want a full-page ad in one of our magazines. Page 15 will give you the opportunities that we have that are free. So again, the website. We also do things. This year's Pan Am was a big event, so we also do. We've had some interaction with the tourism industry and tourism stakeholders to activate at our celebration zone down on Queens Quay. We do a tourism day at Dundas Square, where we work a lot with our regional tourism organizations and our destination marketing organizations to try and highlight experiences outside of Toronto that people within Toronto, to try and promote them to go out and experience. And again, we have our travel information centers. If you have any information that you want distributed, we can distribute them through our 11 centers in our network of travel information centers. And there are opportunities there as well to have digital advertising and so forth available. Page 16 really talks about the opportunity that I'd really like to communicate, which is to get your event and package listings and business listings on our site for free. So you have to create an account through our industry site. tourismpartners.com. You log in there, and then you have control of the content that you put in. You would need to supply an image and a website link, and then information about your business, about your event, or about a package. If you got a package, you can also list a package on there as well. Page 17 just talks about OntarioTravel.net, which is our website, and the reasons why I'm recommending that you go on and you put your listings on there. We've redesigned it. We've got all our regions in there. They've been in there for a couple of years, but they have access to their content as well. So one of the things that you should do if you're an operator is you should know who your regional tourism organization is. We call them RTO. You should know who they are. You should be linking with your RTO. Make sure they know about your experience. And it would be nice for them to list or feature your experience within their content on our site, as well as their content on their own site. And that way, as a business person, you get access to their site, our site, and more eyes looking at your information. Page 18 just talks about the business listing, event listing, package listings, and the guidelines. Page 19, which talks about packages. So if you've got a package and you'd like to have the package on the site, this is the information you need to follow to make sure that your package meets the criteria. So it talks about having at least 2 services or experiences as part of the package. And the information is there. I'm not going to read it to you, but it's all good information that you need to consider if you have a package and you want to list it on our site, and it's free.
Great. And we will, sorry to interrupt, we will be providing copies of this presentation for anyone that wants it. So yeah, if you feel like we're covering lots of ground, you can always go back and
right. The page 20 tells you about the experience categories on our website. So when a consumer comes on and they want to see what are the different experiences that Ontario has to offer, these are what show up. So we have special badges for each one of these, and one of those is Aboriginal. And I'll be very honest, one of the issues that we have on the Aboriginal category is we don't have enough product information. So that's why it's very important that you put your information on. It allows us to feature more Aboriginal product and experiences on our site, and it's good for the consumer and it's good for the business owner as well. So you can figure out where you fit in, because when you put your listings in, you'll be asked whereabouts, which one of these categories you fit, and you can be in a number of different categories. So if somebody does a search for land and air adventure and Aboriginal, if your listing provides that categories or it fits into those categories, it'll pop up.
Great.
22. Page 22 talks about our grant programs. This is something you might be interested in. We have 2 programs. One is a granting program that we provide dollars if you're going to do out-of-province marketing. The requirement here is that you come with 3 separate entities. We call them a consortium. You supply 60% of the dollars of the campaign. We'll supply 40%. You go through you have to submit it through Grants Ontario. We will review the application, and if you're approved, you can get up to $200,000 in marketing assistance to do a campaign, but it needs to be out of province. Could be US, could be Quebec, could be Manitoba, wherever.
Great.
That's one. The second program that we have is a festival program, which is called a Tourism Event Marketing Program. We can provide funding for marketing again, but it's for marketing within the province or marketing outside the province. The priority is outside the province where there's more money available, but we can provide dollars for within the province up to $20,000. Uh, all the information on these two programs are available through Grants Ontario. So if you go to grantsontario.ca, it'll give you a list of all the R2 funding programs, plus all other funding programs, granting programs within the Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and Sport. And yeah,
Great. I think you're gonna have to wrap up things
I'm
here,
done.
Narvin.
I'm done. I'm finished.
Oh, you're done? Okay. Okay, great.
So if anybody has any questions, there is a contact information there on the last page.
Perfect. And we'll be sending this out to all the participants as well. So no worries there. Yeah, thank you so much, Narvin. We'll have some time once Jen does her presentation for some questions. So I'm gonna switch things over to Jen right now.
Yeah, no problem. So my name is Jennifer Tabak, and I am a partner here at Design de Poux. We're a communication and design agency in Northern Ontario. We provide work, design services all across Canada. And we specialize in Aboriginal work because we feel as if there is a ton of potential in the Aboriginal entrepreneur and tourism markets that can definitely be helped out by designers and communicators and getting their messages across from a business to business perspective and a business to consumer market perspective. We are a fairly small studio. We have 3 partners and a couple of web programmers who work with us. We've been in operation now 6 years, and we've learned a lot in that time, especially in focusing on sort of the economic development. And we always feel that in our business, if our clients are doing really, really good, that means we're doing really, really good. So it's a really beneficial relationship and a really satisfying one to be able to help companies and organizations who are starting up, who might not have an idea of who exactly they want to be to their clients, and helping them grow into established organizations that have branches all across Canada. We do several things in the office. When you think of print, web design, communications, it's a pretty wide field that we manage. We do, in this case, I'll walk you through a website, so web design, corporate communications, so annual reports, all the big stuff that you get, branding, so developing a logo and helping our clients establish their identity, which is something that can be a bit confusing at times. We also help sort of consolidate research. So Narvin was talking about some of the research documents that are available for certain demographics, and that's something people often have trouble with, but those resources are amazing. So it's a really good thing to have on hand to know who your client is. That's often a big thing that people have trouble with. Who do they want to sell to? You want to sell to everybody, but that's not really the best tactic. So seeing those resources available is really good. Print materials, so business cards, or in the tourism case, things like promotional items. So do you want to sell T-shirts? Do you want to give people something really special to take away with them when they leave? Because people often want to buy souvenirs to remember, in a couple months or show people. So we help put everything together and try to unify it. So when someone goes to your website, they see a message, they see your sort of company's personality, your area's personality. When they go to visit you at your establishment, the signs, the brochures, the maps, they speak the same language, they have the same tone. And when they leave, they still have that same sort of unity that they feel your company is speaking to them instead of like 12 different people. Amanda has up the website there on the screen. So this is an ongoing project for Aboriginal tourism. We started with the little tiny logo in the top left-hand side. We had a bit of inspiration. Usually what happens in the process with our designers is we sit down and we chat and we ask about the research. Who are you targeting? Where do you want to be seen? What markets do you want to get into? And we try to get just a sense of a personality of the company and the people who are running it. Here at our design studio, we're pretty friendly and we're pretty energetic. And we always get excited about projects, and we let that show because it makes us different than our competitors who, perhaps are really serious and, and even we just like to have fun at work. So we let that show, and it differentiates us in our market. Same with our clients. Some of them are really, really friendly. I have one client who, when I went in for the first time to meet them, he was like, I'm going to give you a hug, okay? And I was like, oh no, like touchy-feely already. But, that's just how he operates his company, and we try to express that in the materials. So we take a look at that research, and then we sort of take a look at the market. And in this case, I'm sure anyone who's looked at their competitors in the tourism industry, there are some people who are doing things really, really well, and people who perhaps are not doing so well. So we make a quick board, things we want to stay away from, logos that are too complex that we didn't immediately understand or feel drawn to, and then we take a look at competitors who are doing really, really well, because they're going to set the benchmark, and we have to try to do better than them. So in this case, just for reference, Kenora, we really like their logo. Aboriginal Tourism BC had a good one, and the 4th International Aboriginal Tourism Conference. These were logos that we felt were simple, but they communicated an idea really, really quickly.
Great.
Then what happens is we sort of put together our own inspiration. And then for this logo in particular, we drew on sort of quill work boxes. So originally we had a bunch of lines, the porcupine quills. And we also focused on chevrons, which were in a pattern in a lot of the quill work boxes we had. They're pretty apparent in a lot of Aboriginal work in North America. And they're always on travel signs, right? We always have arrows pointing us to certain directions. So that was a major inspiration in the logo. So we have a bit of hand-drawn type cleaned up with professional, sort of easy to read fonts, and in the feathers, or sort of multiple directions and people coming together. We also wanted a logo that we could break apart and use in different ways. So even on the photo of the paddlers, you can see that we've broken up the logo to have arrows pointing in different directions and highlighting around the people themselves, so containing them within that identity. And I think even if you scroll down a bit, Amanda, I might have put it on one of the testimonial photos. There's like a big band near the bottom. Yeah, right there. So showing people sort of contained within that experience and having fun a little bit with the branding. A lot of the competitors, of course, especially in Ontario, have sort of green, blues as their colors. So we wanted to be a little bit more playful, and we used orange, the colors of sunsets, of sunrises, the color of energy, right? You want to get out there and experience Ontario. So we chose a very energetic color to sort of represent that. And then on the website, we really try to break things down. We wanted, especially for travel websites like, Amanda has mentioned, things like images really, really grab people. The first thing, people are going to take 1 second to look at a website, and I think especially in the tourism thing, you're trying to capture people's imaginations, people who have never been there before, people who have perhaps never been to the country, and people who have been there and remember those experiences, remember, paddling or kayaking or hanging out with friends, the amazing scenery, the great cities and stuff like that we have up here. So that was really important on the website. And again, looking at research at demographics, how are people looking at this website? and the materials. Images are incredibly important. So we wanted ones with vibrant colors, and all these sorts of decisions are based off of basic research. Again, following in line, I'll say with Narvin's thing is that, you know, we wanted to put together ideas of packages, because it's really helpful people when, you know, they're trying to plan a vacation. No, not everyone. I mean, I'm an avid traveler, and I usually have in mind exactly kind of what I want to do because I have a fairly wide experience, but not everyone gets to travel, you know, every couple of months. So putting together suggested itineraries, suggested packages, things that make traveling easier, because it can be a difficult, daunting task sometimes. So presenting the information in a really fun, easy to read manner, especially remembering that you could potentially have people who are from out of the country. People from China read entirely different. People might not speak English. So pictures and icons and those sort of design elements really help to bring that information together and make it in an accessible manner for your clients. The website too, this one you get to see it sort of in development. We're still working on it. But we wanted to show it as sort of an application of one of the branding elements. And I think if you scroll right down almost to the bottom, there's a few sort of examples of easy to read packages. Not everything is, you know, completely functional at the moment, but like again, work in progress. So you get to see little snippets, show things easily, pick out things that are personal experiences or testimonials. Like everyone's been mentioning, it's really good to have your information on, you know, sort of, lots of people come from TripAdvisor or those types of websites. So it's nice to have information available from other people, because people like word of mouth or want to know that somewhere they're staying is vouched for.
Yes.
So having things like a blog or having those sort of those little blurbs, and websites now are really easy ways to integrate those. Some of the photos this project was a fairly fast-paced project. I could find photos on TripAdvisor. I could find little blurbs, like that soul-warming experience was actually a blurb someone had posted about some of the content that's available or will be available on the website. And I thought, that's beautiful. I couldn't have even written that. And that to me sums up sometimes when I'm traveling, you know, you just feel like, wow, this is amazing. This is something I'm gonna take with me forever. So keep in mind content you gather from people who visited your establishment, and what people are saying. Great ways to keep those materials and make your website your own.
That's great. And just to let everyone know, once this website is actually, you know, ready to be launched, there's also the opportunity to list your businesses on this site as well. So, you know, the more the merrier. You can have it on the ATO site. You can have it on the OntarioTravel.net site. It's just the more ways that you get your business out there, the better, and it's just going to grow from there.
Yeah, and I think I put an emphasis, if you're, like you said before, Amanda, if new startups really have a tight budget, but websites are a great way. They are, you know, they are still an investment to kind of get up and running, but you can update them. They're not permanent like a print piece, and everyone, you know, sort of accesses them on their phone, on their tablets. I was traveling to the States, just came back last week, and I was so surprised at how many people, you know, are out there in their active elements outside of cities with their phone referencing maps, even us. So, you know, the technology is out there to make your website available instantly. And, you know, if someone's lost or needs directions or wants to reference your website, they have it while they're in your vicinity as well. So through all stages, you know, they're taking photos, they're planning their trips, and they're navigating while they're at your location. So take advantage of that, because it's a really good medium.
Yeah, and definitely, and there's there's so many, for new startups, you could always start small and just to have, a very basic website with your info, and then you can grow and enhance it as the years go on. And yeah, so you don't have to think, getting a website is a huge investment. You could start small and then grow from there.
Mhm. And like Norman said, there's a huge lack of websites that are on there, or ones that are usually fairly outdated. So if you're noticing that in your area, if you look at your competitors and seeing sort of, web pages that are probably from, the late 90s, take advantage of that. People respond to a really an updated website with fresh materials. So it's an easy way to get a leg up.
It's Narvin. I just want to emphasize one thing, and that is, as a business operator, you should really look at making sure that your DMO, your RTO have your information about your experience, and make sure it's reflected on ours as well. So the more you put that information out there, the better it is for everybody.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Narvin. So Jen, I just have a question about just like having that strong brand presence. So creating that brand, that unified voice, and just in your experience, can you? I know you kind of touched on it, but just like how important do you think that is for businesses, especially just new businesses and small businesses that are just starting out?
I think it's probably one of the most important pieces, and you won't, necessarily see the numbers instantly, but to have a consistent tone of voice, a consistent imagery, especially in sort of a saturated market, really makes you stand out. And once people get to know who you are, and every time they see a piece of material or someone speaks about you, they'll notice it right away. And I think the problem that most startups have in any industry, especially people who are perhaps starting their first company, or first sort of, yeah, their first company, is they want to be everything to everyone. And I think, especially Narvin's presentation, he really showed, you know, even tourism of all of Ontario targets things specifically. Their budget's going to be a lot bigger than most people's, but you know what? They're still specializing. They know people from Germany are going to want a certain thing. They know people from France, and you can do the same thing. You can take the same idea and be like, who do specifically I want to target? Because you know what? If you're going to focus on Chinese travelers, you know, or say people from Germany, right? It's helpful to have a few additional blurbs in German, but you're not going to fill up an entire brochure, an entire website with every language out there, because you know what? That's pointless. So really picking and choosing, knowing who you want to be and who you want to target. I can't emphasize that enough. It's hard to do at the beginning, but
Great.
sit down, take the time to really reflect on the demographics and look at the research. It's not the most exciting thing to do, but your designer and anyone, your financiers, they're gonna ask you those questions. So
Do you have any additional comments that you want to add, Jen?
I think just keep your excitement and don't be afraid to experiment and get out there. It's not always the easiest thing, and it's sometimes hard to get information, but ask questions and use the resources that are out there, because as a business owner, as a tourism operator, you're sort of expected to know everything, but you're not going to. So the resources that were provided today were amazing. I'm going to be using them, even to help other tourism clients. So, bookmark them, because they'll definitely come in handy.
Great. And Narvin, anything that you would like to add?
No, I'm good. I think I've hammered home my one point, which is to get this onto our site and onto other sites. So the more exposure you have, the better.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, the OntarioTravel.net site is a great resource. Within the next little while here, the Aboriginal Tourism Ontario site will be launched, so that's another opportunity. And these are all free services. So, that's if you have a product that's ready to be marketed, it's yeah, definitely take advantage of that.
If you've got business information about your experience, particularly if it's tourism related. I'm assuming everyone here is a tourism business, but if you're a tourism business and you've got any sort of brochures or information that you want to convey, I'm happy to receive it um, and pass it on to our folks, because we do have folks that go out to the international markets and talk, and into the U.S. market and talk about experiences that we have. So if we're not aware of what's out there that may be new on the Aboriginal tourism front, then give us that information. I'm happy to pass it on.
Just as far as moving forward, there's a variety of ways to get involved with Aboriginal Tourism Ontario. So we have, as you know, the webinars which you participated in. We also had regional workshops, and we will be posting, I believe, at least one more. So we'll let everyone know about that. There's also an online survey just to fill out as well. We'll also send just a reminder to everyone here just to please fill out that survey and have your voice heard. It's a chance just to share, some of your challenges that you're facing, and then create an opportunity for Aboriginal Tourism Ontario to provide that support. So we want this to be that grassroots initiative, and have all the industry's voices heard. And so if there's any specific things, feel free to put them in that survey, or you can email info@cesclients.com, and we can just share with you directly on how to be involved, and have your voice heard when it comes to moving forward with Aboriginal Tourism Ontario. Well, great. Thank you once again to Jen and Narvin for participating in this webinar. You are a wealth of information, and great to hear both of your different perspectives when it comes to marketing and branding. And thank you all to everyone that participated, and we'll be in touch with you soon.